Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in and welcome to Quick Tips. Steven here with Team Euphoric, and today I'm going to be sharing the 7 best exercises for athletes to perform. If you are a professional athlete or if you are training to be a professional athlete, you want the exercises that you perform to mimic that of your sport. And when it comes to the common movement patterns, there are 7 of them. We have the squat, bend, lunge, push, pull, twist, and gait patterns. And with regard to each of those, you want the pattern to mimic what you're going to be doing in your actual sport. Let's start off with the squat pattern. With regard to the squat, if you are somebody like a basketball player or a boxer, doing something like a quarter squat is going to be much more applicable than a deep squat. The reason being, if you are a basketball player, you're never in a deep squat position. You're always jumping from more of a quarter squat position. And same thing with boxing. When you are throwing hooks, you're never going all the way down to the ground and coming back up. You're usually in this quarter squat type of a position. Whereas if you are a power lifter, a full squat is going to be important because in order to have the actual lift count, you need to be able to do a full squat. If we end up doing something like a baseball catcher is in a static deep squat position. So for a baseball catcher, you want to make sure that you are squatting deep, ass to grass, and you want to make sure that you are holding it in that bottom position and pausing at the bottom. Next, let's take a look at the bend pattern. With regard to the bend pattern, if you are somebody like a wrestler or a jiu-jitsu practitioner, then something like an Atlas stone lift is going to be very, very applicable. Same thing with strongman competitors, because if you are a wrestler or jiu-jitsu practitioner, you're going to get really low to the ground and you're going to have this rounded spine when you are deadlifting. And if you are a strongman competitor, you're going to be lifting Atlas stones all the time. So a great bend pattern exercise for those particular sports would be Atlas stone lifts. However, if you are somebody like a power lifter, then a conventional barbell deadlift is going to be very beneficial because that is required for your sport. Next, let's take a look at the lunge pattern. With regard to the lunge pattern, if you are somebody like a wrestler, then doing walking lunges is going to be very beneficial because when you do a walking lunge, that's going to mimic when you end up sprawling and going in to shoot for a takedown. Whereas if you are somebody like a baseball player or a hockey player, a walking lunge with a rotation is going to be beneficial because when you go to throw a pitch, you're lunging and then rotating. And when you go to take a slap shot, you have your one leg forward and then you're rotating as well. So those would be more applicable forms of the lunge pattern for those specific exercises. Next, let's take a look at the push pattern. With regard to push patterns, if you are a striker, so let's say you're a boxer or an MMA fighter, doing some type of standing single arm cable press is going to be beneficial because when you throw a hook or a jab, you are standing and you are doing a horizontal single arm push. So it would be much more applicable to do something like that. Whereas if you are a power lifter, the actual bench press is going to be part of your sport. So you want to be able to perform the bench press and get really good at practicing the bench press. Next, let's take a look at the pull pattern. With regard to the pull pattern, if you are a wrestler, if you are a jiu-jitsu practitioner, then you're going to need a lot of forearm strength and you're always going to be pulling with an open hand. So you would want to do something like a bent over pull-up, or a bent over row with something like a thick grip. That way you can train your forearms a lot more. Whereas if you are somebody like a gymnast, you would want to do a pulling exercise like a gymnastic ring pull-up. Because if you're a gymnast, you're going to be using the rings a lot. So you want to make sure that you get really good at training on those rings. Next, let's take a look at the twisting pattern. With regard to the twisting pattern, if you are a hockey player, if you are a golfer, you want to do a cable wood shot because when you take a slap shot or when you end up taking a swing with your golf club, you're going from a high position down to a low position, which is exactly what you do when you do a cable wood shot. Whereas if you are somebody like a boxer or a baseball player, when you swing the bat or when you throw a punch, it's more of a horizontal twist. So rather than going from high to low, you would want to do a horizontal chop by just pulling right across. And then lastly, the gait pattern. With regard to the gait pattern, if you are somebody like a baseball player, a football player, a 100-meter sprinter, you're going to need to develop explosiveness. In baseball, in football, 100-meter dashes, you're running very, very short distances all out as fast as you can. So sprinting would be very, very, very beneficial. Whereas if you are somebody like a strongman competitor, the farmer's carry is going to be part of your sport. So rather than training sprinting, it would be much more applicable to your sport if you were to do something like a farmer's carry. But those are just some examples of some exercises that you can perform if you are an athlete. Thanks for hanging around until the end of the video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like the video and comment down in the comment section as it would really help out with the algorithm. And also share this video so we can help get this information out to as many people as possible. And also subscribe to the the channel by clicking on the icon in the bottom right-hand corner and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the videos. For those of you interested in health optimization, you can check out the video in the top right corner where I discuss the 6 foundation principles. And for those of you interested in optimizing your performance, then consider becoming a member. It's only $5 per month, and you get a ton of perks, including exclusive access to this program design lecture series playlist above my head.